So, like for a lot of others, Diablo 4 was my most disappointing game of 2023. You know you've messed up when I managed to enjoy Starfield more than Diablo 4.
I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Exactly 1 year later, Season 4, Loot Reborn promised some pretty big changes to Diablo 4's core design, to the point I could bring myself to actually do the endgame.
At long last.
And hell, even D4's Steam user review has gone up to mostly positive. Overall, I think it's okay, it's decent. It's the best Diablo 4 has been so far, but it still has a long way to go. I will say each season usually has a theme: malignant corruption, vampires, or elemental storms. Season 4 is a bit different. It doesn't have a fantasy theme, it's all about rebuilding the game and items at its core. Loot Reborn, showing that Blizzard might be pretty serious about trying to fix Diablo. I feel like Blizzard originally lured us into Diablo 4 with a promise of more atmospheric gameplay and deeper systems, akin to Diablo 2 stuff. But to be honest, it feels more like Diablo 3 now, more than ever. The campaign was decent, I think Blizzard just ballsed it up. Repetitive open world tasks, uninspiring quest design, and poorly implemented systems and mechanics.
What a pity.
They've cut their losses, abandoned some of their original design philosophy, and here we are. Blizzard actually listened to the fans in feedback.
I shall take your position into consideration.
Okay, so when you start Season 4, the first thing that you'll want to make use of are Helltides. Basically, Helltides have been around for a while, and they're special events where regions of the map will be taken over by minions of hell for an hour. Very high density of monsters and very chaotic.
Chaos exists. I knew it.
With Season 4, I was able to jump into Helltide straight away, and Helltides are pretty much constant now. Previously, you'd have to wait an hour between each Helltide. Pretty fun way of leveling up. Like I said, they're so chaotic.
Chaos.
I really disliked all the timers in Diablo 4. Whispering tree tasks on the map having reset timers almost like daily quests. There was a weekly boss that functioned like a loot pinata, and you'd have to keep track of when Helltide events were going to trigger. The complete opposite to Diablo 1, 2 and 3, where you just played the game whenever you want and you weren't tied to timers. I think this change to the Helltides timer is a positive one for Diablo 4. Yeah, Helltides have been around a while, but it's a much better experience without having to wait for the next Helltide to start. Quickie, trying to grow the channel, cover RPGs. I recently returned to Destiny 2. I'll be talking about the new player experience in 2024, and I'm doing a series where I'm running through each Final Fantasy every month. Any subs or likes are an amazing help, thank you. So the whole game is scaled to your level. As you level, all the demons level up with you. I'm not a huge fan of level scaling in RPGs. I might do a video on level scaling in the future. But because of this, originally I really didn't enjoy the way items worked. As I was leveling up, I get a new piece of gear. I'd use my gold to upgrade the gear 5 times at the blacksmith. It just felt like a waste of gold in a very basic and very boring system. It was bad, and it no longer works like this now. I'm well aware that in ARPGs you're constantly chasing gear, but progression just didn't feel good. Not to mention some of the affixes on gear were questionable. The design behind gear has been refined a bit, and you're going to spend a lot less time reading ridiculous affixes. They're much simpler and shorter now. That original upgrade system has evolved into the new Masterworking system, which is kind of similar, but you don't need to worry about these upgrades till much later in endgame, when you're starting to get your perfect gear and your gear lasts a lot longer. I prefer it this way with the Masterworking system, as opposed to having to constantly upgrade gear 5 times as you're leveling.
I'm bloody hungry.
So to replace those upgrades while you're leveling, the tempering system comes in. As you're leveling up, you earn new tempering recipes that allow you to add an affix to a piece of equipment at the blacksmith. It's so much more interesting than 5 generic upgrades, and I like that you actually unlock tempering recipes as you progress.
I wonder what old Deckard Cain would have written in his chronicles if he had seen us.
One thing I really didn't like in old Diablo 4 was the way reputations worked. Just do loads of open world things and awful side quests to rank up your reputation. To this day, I still have not collected all the Lilith statues. I just can't bring myself to load up a map and collect all those statues. But Season 4 adds an entirely new reputation with the Iron Wolves. Basically, you get loads of reputation just from running Helltides, and I maxed it out before reaching max level. And I got myself a cool banner. which is a better reward than what you get for completing the full season journey. So please, more reputations like the Iron Wolves, and less like the open world region reputations. So you eventually have to do dungeons to rank up your Paragon nodes, and doing the dungeons wasn't quite as fun as the Helltides with their insane monster density and chaos. The Pit is a new system, pretty much riffs from Diablo 3. These new pits stitch dungeon pieces in different locations together. It's a bit more random, more monsters, and you'll need to kill enough enemies to spawn a big boss before the time runs out. It's decent. There has been a few quality of life improvements, small things like you can now use your horse and charge through towns. I like that materials now drop in bundles, and since Season 3 you'll now pick up those materials when you walk over them. Yeah, I'm also getting to experience the improvements that have been built up across the 3 previous seasons as well, including the fact that gems now drop as fragments and don't use up all your inventory space. Nice. It was pretty cool getting to see some of the summoned bosses, they were alright. I think Diablo 4 bosses leave a lot to be desired.
I wish it wasn't true, but it is.
I mentioned it earlier, I think there should have been a better reward for completing the season journey, like a fancy mount, a really nice incentive to overcome the harder challenges. All you currently get is some titles. Maybe they could have put a mount in at the end of the season journey instead of the cash shop. I complete the battle pass as well, I ended up not buying it. I personally don't think I'd ever use the armor set, portal, or gravestone cosmetics. God, it's so weird that you can customize your gravestone for when you die. You'd think you wouldn't want other people to see you when you're dead. But again, battle pass rewards are a bit trash compared to what's available on the cash shop. But I will say there were multiple points in the battle pass where if I bought the accelerated boost, then I would have gained access to gameplay boosts before I normally would without spending money. So thumbs down from me on that. Battle pass, more like battle ass. Of course, you know me, I've been slaying demons on the toilet. I'm actually surprised how Diablo 4 plays on the Steam Deck, it's decent. But overall, leveling with Helltide from the start is pretty fun, very chaotic. Love high monster density in my ARPGs, wasn't a fan of all the timer-based content, so removing the timer on Helltides is a win in my books. The redesign of how items work and the tempering and masterworking systems are an improvement and makes the level scaling feel better for progression. Rifts or The Pit are a welcome addition and much more interesting than regular dungeons. Lots of little quality of life changes, material bundles and mounts in town, and the Iron Wolves has a reputation I like, much better than the existing open world reputations. I was so disappointed with Diablo 4, I was considering just passing completely on the expansion, but this update has me a little bit more hopeful, and I actually complete the battle pass and got level 100. Hopefully a few more updates like this and D4 could be really good. What I really want to see is a return of the overlay map like Diablo 1, 2 and 3. When I logged back into Diablo 4, the overlay map was the first thing I felt was missing. I'll admit, I did get initially addicted with progression. Eventually I got a bit fatigued of grinding Helltides. Enjoyed chasing some of the season journey challenges, it's been a little bit on the easy, more casual side. If like me, you've really been disappointed with Diablo 4, consider giving this another try. I think you'll know whether you like it or not pretty fast, it's decent. Peace for now.